Hey, this is Pamela Riemenschneider, retail editor for Blue Book Services, and I have Mary here from the United Fresh Produce Association, and we've just finished day 5 of United Fresh Live, but it's not over. The show is not over. So what do we do going forward with this platform?
Well, first, we take a weekend and breathe. Thanks for having me today, Pamela. It is day 5. It has been a fantastic experience for the industry across the board. And I'm really looking forward to the fact that it's going to stay up till September 1st. So you're absolutely right. There's a lot more for us to do on this platform in the coming weeks and months.
And I mean, I'm still going through booths. I didn't get to everything like I would have wanted to do live during the waves. But that was the point, that you weren't standing there and having to be switched on the entire time. This stuff is going to be living all the way through the summer. And so what do you recommend that the industry do to continue to interact and get value out of what you guys have hosted here?
Yeah, well, the platform essentially has now just become a database of new products, featured products. So it certainly is a directory for folks to go in and search for commodities, search for brands, search for services. And the companies that are represented as exhibitors are on the platform, and they're going to be on the platform. Nobody's leaving the platform. So I give that advice to exhibitors too. It's not time to pack up. It's time to take a break and then get right back on Monday. Pam, we talked about some of the technology behind the platform and how you don't have to be logged in to be able to get some of the messages, but you should be checking in every once in a while. And certainly, like I said, use it as a directory to find people, products, services throughout the summer. So that's really one of the biggest benefits of keeping it live for the next couple weeks and months.
Well, I know Greg and I joked about our flair, our trade show flair, and you know, most of these are from old trade shows, obviously. But there are two sides here. Like, one, you're not walking away with a sack full of sell sheets that you can't organize. You can actually, that was one buyer told me that he thought it was great that he was able to download or add to his suitcase all of these sell sheets, all of this information that you can easily forward on to people in his organization. But then I'm brought back to the exhibitor training that we had at Brandstorm back in February, back when we all, you know, got to be together. And I distinctly remember that the presenter, Jefferson Davis, did a fantastic job of telling people how to maximize and bring it to people before and after the show. And I had a couple of exhibitors do that for me. And it wasn't just the event, like, you know, literally, I got a stack of fun stuff. I got socks. And I don't need all of this stuff, but it's a fun way to get people to think about the show. And then, you know, they weren't spending money sending 100 people to the show.
Right.
So let's invest in making the digital experience the best so that it could have been. So that you know, some of those principles that we learned in the exhibitor training translate to online just as well. And it's not over.
Absolutely. And you're right. Jefferson Davis talked a lot about your before, your during, and your after an event. And we certainly recognize that the before was way different than we could have ever anticipated. We know that United Fresh made this transition real quick with the support of our board of directors. And we had to communicate that and then support our exhibitors to make the transition with us. And a lot of them did a really fantastic job doing that. You just showed a perfect example. So it was the before. It was the during, which we just experienced for 5 days. And I don't even want to say after now, because it's really, we're transitioning in a different way. Something didn't close. We didn't break down a booth. We still have the same tools available. And again, once users continue to come onto the platform at their leisure, because that's really the benefit of a virtual platform, they will continue to discover what's happening throughout the exhibitors' booths. I know I was mentioning to you earlier, United Fresh is excited that all of our education is now on demand through the platform, but also the exhibitors that were hosting their own Zoom meetings and bringing in executives from around the globe for one-on-one conversations and Zoom presentations, they also posted that as on demand within their booths. So I can only imagine the hours of content that are available on this platform now if someone wants to go back in and really take advantage of it.
Yeah, there's a whole lot more to be had, and it's not like if you go in a booth, there's no one there. It's not like they packed up and are gone for the day. You can still hit the chat button and you can still hit the contact button, and it will get to somebody. The message will get to somebody, and that's the other thing is that you know, I didn't make it all the way through, and I'm sure, you know, there are other people in my boat that maybe didn't make it all the way through, or there's some stuff that maybe you didn't see the first time. I found some fun virtual tours, but then this morning, I found an opera singer that works for a company here in the produce industry. So there's such an amazing wealth of stuff that's still on there that I'm sure a lot of people will, you know, find some value in it. How many people, by the way, did you get to come to the show so far? And what kind of
Yeah, you know, we, I think it really exceeded our expectations. We hit over 12,000 users, created accounts to log into the platform. And then on a daily basis, we were averaging about 6,000 folks on the platform at any given time. So the ebb and flow of traffic in terms of who was logging in and logging out different times of day and different days across the week really is interesting. And for anybody who loves data and analytics, we've got some work for you this weekend because that's what we'll be going through to try to figure out. But like,
and all of the booth people have that as well. All the exhibitors have this information of what were people interested in and what was most engaging. That all of that data is something that you can't necessarily get from an in-person show where maybe they picked up something and you weren't paying attention. So a lot of wealth of information to really chew on before we go into another event, or, you know, even just to, you know, reach out to customers knowing, you know, armed with some information of what people are most engaged with.
Absolutely. You have your leads now are qualified leads. And that is so valuable to know that this person added this particular document to their briefcase in their My Profile. Clearly they're interested in this topic. That's a qualifier, as opposed to somebody, I mean, in person, you can count how many pieces of paper were picked up because you know what you printed and you know what you're left with. But to be able to tie each one of those pieces of paper to a person is phenomenal. And, you know, I'll transition and say we had over 500 retailers participate this week in the platform from 87 different retail brands. And that was Monday through Friday. They showed up for coffee talks. They showed up for receptions. They were across the show floor. Now, they may not have been there for all of the expo power hours, or maybe you didn't see them in your particular booth. But if you went to a coffee talk or a reception, you absolutely engaged with the retailers that were on this platform. I'll give Walmart Mexico a shout out because they showed up in almost every one of the coffee talks I hosted and ended up giving a lot of context in a number of the conversations. Did you have a similar experience?
You know, for me, the coffee talks were hard because it's the time of day that I'm most busy.
That's true.
Prepared. So I caught one this morning, however, down in my living room, and I'm sure everyone got to see my awesome leg lamp in my living room. But I did had a really, I'm actually bummed I missed, you know, I didn't make a point of going to more of them because those were extremely valuable. There were tons of people in there talking about their real life experiences in issues. The one that I caught this morning was about direct to consumer and box programs and how people are going to maintain the growth of them, some success stories, some challenges, and you know, as I'm sitting here in Texas, and Joe Don from HEB mentioned it in the opening session, in the closing session today, our numbers are going up on, you know, coronavirus infections. Our hospitalizations are going up, which is the qualifier that I use. So we may be looking at another shutdown in the near future. Hopefully not, but the learnings that you can take back from that of companies that had success in these programs were invaluable. And this wasn't a you know, presentation with a PowerPoint and key points that happened 6 or 8 months ago. This is something that happened a couple of weeks ago and is ongoing and evolving. And that was what was really interesting, to be able to see in real time and real life experiences from these companies. So that's what the value of the Coffee Talks was for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I was in that one too. And we're in the DC area where Keeney Produce is located. So a lot of United Fresh staff have participated in Keeney's Fresh Produce Box program. And I was mentioning today that we also ordered a dairy box from them. So they're doing some cross promotion of product in their boxes. But it's funny because if you go back to February at Brandstorm again, we had a direct to consumer conversation, and it was very different than the conversation we were having today, a couple months later. So that was the value of the Coffee Talks this week.
Yeah, well, and listening to one of the box participants talking about how they got, instead of the necessities, they transitioned it into a culinary experience. Because, I mean, you've probably seen me cooking on Facebook, and everyone's doing it. My sourdough starter needs to be fed. That's what I do on the weekends. And transitioning from that, you know, crisis need into building business is something that I think was really valuable. Chewbacca, come here.
Oh, we've got a dog bomb, folks.
I know. He is under my desk chewing up something. Say hi to Chewbacca.
You know what, though? I think that was really what lent itself to the authenticity of this week, right? We all had a couple of bombs in our Zoom calls. My husband Zoom bombed me at one point just to bring me the mail. And I know I saw kids Zoom bombing, dogs Zoom bombing. So that's another thing I'll say about what we were able to do this week as a community, this industry. We came together in a very authentic way, in a way that I know we are all missing so much. And that's that in-person connection and understanding what's going on in each other's lives. And I think we were able to facilitate some of that through these Zoom calls.
I think so too, and it's been amazing, and I'm sure it's building for people. I mean, I've arranged a couple of Zoom meetings based on conversations that I had in booths to talk about new product launches that are coming up for businesses. It's not something that had to happen right here at United Fresh Live, but it's something that started here that is moving forward. So definitely a valuable experience.
Excellent. I'm happy to hear that.
Well, you get out of here. Go have a good weekend. This will run in the Produce Reporter on Monday. But just like that, it's evergreen content. It's the value of what you can make out of it. And I think a lot of people are walking away or clicking close or exiting out, logging out of their United Fresh Live experience. But we'll be back at it next week, you know, and the week after of really finding the rest of the Easter eggs.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we'll be online. I hope people continue to reach out to us and find value in the platform, and look forward to sharing our future plans when we're ready to.
All right. Thanks, Mary.
Thanks, Pamela. Take care.
I don't